Hello friends, and welcome to yet another captivating video of Wisdom Zone. And this is Shubro, and I'm quite sure you have already guessed it because today I have the 10th session on develop your spoken English and become more fluent and proficient in your spoken English. And today I am going to emphasize on use of modal verbs, which is going to be imperative for your everyday English conversation and also going to give you a new dimension to your communication. So if you are looking for some great English practice using the modal verbs, this video is just for you. I'll show you the correct use of modal verbs and I will discuss so many interesting sentences which you can see and practice. It is again my earnest request to all the viewers, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do not wait and subscribe to Wisdom Zone and hit the bell icon so that you can get the first notification of this type of informative videos on spoken English. So without wasting any more time, let's get started. So welcome back once again friends, and as I have mentioned that today I am going to emphasize on the use of some important modal verbs in English. So let me tell you what I am going to discuss today. So at first I am going to discuss about a modal verb. I'll tell you what exactly is a modal verb, okay, and what is the syntax, how to form a sentence using modal verbs. And after that I will discuss some important modal verbs which are frequently used in English language, like can, could, may, might, should, must and have to. And I'm also going to show you so many sentences so that you can see and practice, which is going to give you a new dimension and you will become confident and proficient in the use of modal verbs. And at last I'm also going to show you some latest practice techniques which you can use and practice the use of modal verbs. So without wasting any more time, let us get started. So as you see friends, at first I am going to tell you what exactly is a modal verb. As you see on your screen, what is a modal verb? So let me tell you, a modal verb is a verb that is used with another verb to express some ideas such as advice, possibility, obligation, or it can be permission. So we use modal verb along with another verb to convey some ideas. It can be an advice, possibility, some obligation, or permission. Also you can use modal verb. So let's see the syntax. So it's very important to see the sentence structure, how to form a sentence using modal verb. So as you see the syntax, at first we use subject plus the modal verb, that is the modal verb which you are going to use, you use that, and after that you use the base form of the verbs or the V1 form, which is quite important. Just remember that after modal verb we do not change the verb, we use it in the present form, that is the base form. So that's the syntax. As you see the example given on your screen, it may rain tonight, right? So I'm using may modal and I'm following it up with rain. That's the base form of the verb. Up next we are going to emphasize on the modal verb step by step. So as you see friends, at first I'm going to discuss the use of can and can't. I think it's very important to know how to use the modal can. The modal can is used to talk about someone's skills or general abilities in the present. So at first we use can to talk about someone's skills or general abilities in the present tense, right? So let us see some examples. Jane can drive a car. So I'm talking about her ability. Again, we can make a negative sentence, then you have to use can't. Jane can't swim well. So negative of can is can't when you're talking about someone cannot perform some task or someone doesn't have some skills. So that time we use can't. So Jane can't swim well. Up next we will see the second use of can. So you also use can or can't to describe specific abilities at a given time. So let's see some sentences to understand. As you see the example, I can see a white car outside my house. So I am talking about a specific ability at a given time that I can see, okay, at a given time, that there is a white car outside my house. Similarly, you can use a negative sentence and use can't. I can't hear you at all, you need to speak louder. So suppose I'm speaking over the phone but I'm not getting that person, that time I can say I can't hear you. So I'm talking about a specific situation where I'm unable to hear someone. That time also we can use can't to talk about specific abilities at a given time. So up next we are also going to see another way to use can. We can use can to make statements about some possibilities. We also use can to make statements about possibilities. So as you see the example, it can become noisy here during festivals. So it is about possibilities, that is expressing a possibility. It can become very noisy during festive season, right? So when I'm expressing a possibility, that time I can use can, because this sentence is expressing a possibility that it can become very noisy during festive season. So let's see another sentence, how to talk about some possibilities. One can easily find a cheap hotel in this city. That means the sentence means an individual can easily get a cheap accommodation in the city. So it is a kind of a general statement about a possibility that cheap rooms easily available in the city. So in this type of situations also we can use can to talk about some specific possibilities. So up next we are also going to see another way to use can. So the next way to use can is asking for permission, and it is totally informal. So let me be specific here. So as you see the sentences, can I go now? So you are asking, so it is not used in formal communication. And see the next sentence, can I ask you something please? When you are using can and asking a question or asking for permission, it is direct. So use of can is not acceptable in formal English when you're asking for permission. So I'll come to that part. So but here we can use an informal manner also and ask for permission. So up next we can also make offers and requests. This is also informal use. Can I help you? So you can say like this way directly, can I help you? See the next sentence, can you convey a message please? So you can directly say that can you convey a message please? This is also informal and not use in formal context, right? So up next we are going to focus on the second modal verb, that is could, and the negative is couldn't. So could is used to talk about someone's skills or general abilities in the past. So can is used to talk about abilities in present, and could is used to talk about general abilities or skills in the past. So let us see some sentences. He could ride a bike when he was 10. That means I'm talking about someone's ability in past, that when that person was 10, the person could ride a bike. Ability in the past. Let's see another sentence. She couldn't dance when she was young. So again I'm using couldn't. That means she didn't have that particular ability to dance when she was young. So I'm talking about someone was unable to perform. Someone didn't have some ability when the person was young. Apart from that, we can also talk about specific past incidents. As you see, I could not see anything yesterday night as it was so dark. So again, I'm talking about specific events that yesterday it was so dark I could not see. So in that context also, I'm using the couldn't because I'm talking about something I could not see. Similarly, we can also use could to ask for permission, questions and requests. And let me tell you, could is used extensively in formal communication, and it's a polite way of asking. Okay, so instead of can, we can use could in formal English. So let us see some sentences. Could you give me a favor please? So instead of saying can, we can use that in formal context. Could you give me a favor please? So let us see the next sentence. Could I ask you something please? So when you are asking something, that time also you can use could and make it sound quite polite. And the last sentence, as you see, could you give me a piece of information? Again, you are asking something in a very polite manner because you're using could. So could, when you use could and ask something or ask for permission or ask something or make a request, it sounds polite. Okay, so we can use that extensively in formal communication. So I hope it's crystal clear. Up next, we will also see another way to use could. We also use could to express possibilities. So let us see some example. I don't know what happened to him. He could be in danger. So this is a possibility I'm expressing because I don't know exactly what happened to him. So yeah, he could be in danger. This is a kind of possibility. So in order to express some possibilities also we can use could. So I hope it's crystal clear. Up next we are going to turn our attention towards the use of may. May is used first for permission, request and questions, and it is also used extensively for formal communication, and it's a polite way to ask. So let us see some sentences. May I come in? So it is always polite if you ask for permission using may, that may I come in instead of can I come in, right? So it is used in formal communication. So may I know your name? So this is again a formal way of asking someone's name. And if you are asking for some favor, if you're making a request, that time also you can say may I borrow your pen. So if you use may, it sounds formal and polite. So, and it is extensively used in formal communication. Up next we are also going to see where else we can use may. We also use may to express possibilities. So as you see the sentence, it may rain tonight. So I am saying that it may rain tonight. Okay, that is possibility. When we use may, so the possibility becomes more. Okay, understood? But you are not sure there is a possibility, but when you use may modal and say that it may rain tonight, so the possibility becomes more. Okay. Up next we are going to turn our attention towards the next modal verb, that is might, and the negative form is might not. So might at first is used to express possibilities. He might be busy. I'm expressing a possibility that he might be busy. So up next, let's see the next sentence. It looks fancy, but it might be fragile. That means when you are not sure about something, that time also you can use might. It's a kind of a possibility, you are not sure. It looks fancy, but it might be fragile. So you are not sure about it, that time also you can use might. And thirdly, we use might again to talk about possibilities, and the difference is that the sentence is similar. As you see that when I used may, I said the sentence we discuss is it may rain tonight, but here it might rain today. So the difference is that there is less possibility. If I use may, there is more possibility of rain, and if I am using might, that means there is less possibility, less chance. Okay. Again, we can also make a negative sentence. He might not come back. Okay, so you are talking about something may not happen, right? There is possibility of it. Understood? So up next we are also going to turn our attention towards the next one, that is sixth one, that is should, and the negative is shouldn't. So should is used to give advice or polite suggestions. So as you see some sentences, you should take a healthy diet. It is a kind of a polite suggestion. And we can similarly use negative sentence, you shouldn't take junk food, right? It is also an advice. I'm advising someone not to do something. For polite suggestions and advice we use should. So up next we will see the use of next modal verb, which is important, which is quite imperative, that is must, and the negative is mustn't, right? So must is used to talk about obligations and prohibitions. So let us see some examples. You must obey the traffic rules. There is some obligation that is mandatory to obey the traffic rule. That time only we use must. And similarly we can use negative. That means you are talking about some prohibition. It's mandatory not to do something. That is, you must not smoke, or you mustn't smoke. It's the short form. Okay. So up next we are going to see the seventh one, that is have to. Have to is also quite similar to must. It is also used for obligations. So let us see some sentences. You have to pay attention and listen to the teacher. That means it is quite mandatory, right? Again, let's see one more sentence. You have to wear formal attire in the office. So it is quite mandatory. When I'm talking about things which are mandatory, I can use have to or must. So I hope it's crystal clear. So friends, at last I'm going to discuss some latest practice techniques. As you see on your screen, latest practice techniques. So today we have already discussed some important modal verbs, and I have shown you how to use them and how to use them in different situations, how to construct sentences. So please practice. So let me show you how to practice. So at first you can talk about someone's skills or general abilities in the present, and practice. You can use can to talk about someone's skills and general abilities in present and practice. And also you can use can't to talk about negative. That means if you think that someone doesn't have some skills or abilities, you can use can't, that she can't ride a bicycle. So like this way you can practice the use of modal can to talk about someone's skills and general abilities in the present. Up next, you can also practice the use of could and could not to talk about someone's skills or general abilities in the past. I have already discussed that how to use could. She could dance when she was young. Again, you can make a negative sentence that she could not sing when she was young. So you can talk about someone's skills or general abilities in the past using could and couldn't. And also after that you can practice, and apart from that you can also practice by using could and may and talk about permissions, requests or questions. As I already mentioned, these are used to in formal context, right? When you ask for some permission, may I come in, may I know your name, could you help me? So I hope you are following these sentences. These sentences are very important in formal English, in business English. We do not use can, we use could or we use may to ask permission or to make polite request or ask some questions. So try to practice, make sentences, see the sentences, and you also make sentences in a similar manner and practice use of could and may and make sentences expressing permission, request or any other question in a formal way. Up next, you can also use may or might to express possibilities. Only difference which I already mentioned between may and might is that may is used to talk about something which when the possibility is more. I'm giving you another example. He may call me. It means that there is more possibility, but if I say he might call me, there is less possibility. That's the difference. When you talk about possibilities, we can use may or might, and in case of may the possibility is more, and in case of might the possibility is less. After that, you can also use should and make sentences to give general advice or polite suggestions to someone. You should follow the guidelines, you should not speak to strangers. So like this way you can make sentences and give advice and polite suggestions, and should is used to give polite suggestions and also to give polite advice. And you shouldn't to talk about something someone is not supposed to do. So that time you can say shouldn't, you should not speak to strangers. And at last you can also practice use of must, mustn't and have to for obligations and prohibition. That means when you are giving a kind of a strong advice, then we use must. There is some obligation. You must obey traffic rules. You must not smoke. That means it is mandatory not to do it. So that time we use must or have to, and you can use mustn't also, which is quite common. So like this way you can practice all the important modal verbs which I have discussed step by step and make sentences and develop your spoken and learn the correct use of modal verbs. The more you practice, the better you become, and follow all the sentences examples I have given step by step, and also you make sentences yourself and comment below. Let me tell you also that I have provided links of the previous videos also in the description. If you want to know more about spoken English and how to develop your communication, please refer back to the links given in the description. There you will find some interesting techniques I have discussed in my previous videos related to spoken English, how to use anecdotes, how to narrate a short story, and how to use irregular verbs, regular verbs, and all those links are given in the description. So if you haven't checked them, please go through the videos, and links are provided in the description. So I hope you found this video extremely helpful, and today we covered a very important aspect of spoken English, that is use of modal verbs, and we discussed some very important modal verbs and I have shown you how to use them. Try to practice and develop yourself, and I hope you find this video equally useful. And again, it is my earnest request, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do not wait and subscribe to Wisdom Zone and hit the bell icon so that you can get the first notification of this type of informative videos on spoken English and how to use the right grammar so that you can incorporate it in your communication and become more fluent and more confident. So stay tuned for further informative videos, and do not forget to like, share, comment and subscribe to Wisdom Zone.